Hi, Empire Builders, and welcome to What You Should Know Before Creating Your First Online Course. I want to share some practical tips of what you should know before you jump fully in so that you can save yourself a lot of time, confusion, and frustration. My name is Karaku, and I am CEO of Conquer the Digital Empire, and we're a creative agency that helps coaches and consultants launch a signature course that can help increase the income and impact of their business. And today, I'd really like to answer some common questions that come up for new course creators. These are questions that I had when I was first getting started with courses, and they're also the same questions that come up when I work with clients as a launch strategist, helping them launch their own courses. So I am going to jump right in and answer some of the questions. And in the video, if there's other questions that come up that you want me to answer, you can always drop them in the comments below the video and I'll reply back to you as soon as I can. All right. So let's jump right in. The first question that people typically have is, what should you teach in an online course? So the best content to put in your course is some sort of framework or process that students can follow to achieve a desired goal that solves a problem they have. And so this is not a theory or hypothesis that you're trying to teach. It's really a process that you yourself have honed and you've gotten results with it. And you've used that same process to help others get those same desired results. And you know that it works. So that actually helps you feel more confident when you promote your course because you have proof that it works. If you've got a repeatable approach to a specific problem, the way to start is by really listing out all the steps that it took you to achieve the solution to that problem. So you would start by writing down all the steps, what order you did the steps in, and then once you have all the steps figured out, then you can actually start organizing them into phases. Those really become the modules of your course. And within each module, you've got the lessons within each of those modules. And that's really the beginnings of figuring out your course outline of what you're going to teach. So one example of a course might be how to start up your own virtual staffing agency. Maybe you have all this experience and expertise in how to do it. So you could start by documenting what's that first step that you took all the way to the end when you have successfully built out your staffing agency. And then all those steps in between are what you could be teaching in your course. And it's really important, as I mentioned, that it's a repeatable set of steps so that no matter what type of student comes and takes your course, they'll be able to get those same desired results by following your framework or process. Now, the next question is, how long should your course be? So when you consider your students' experience, you don't want to teach so little that they would feel ripped off with what they paid for the course, but you also don't want to teach so much that you overwhelm your student and then they just end up not finishing the course because there's just so much content that they feel they have to slog through, right? Now, remember, I said before that your course should be helping them solve a very specific problem. And it's really tempting as course creators that we want to teach every single thing we know about our industry or about our specific niche. And what I want to caution you is to focus on the core problem that your course is going to solve. And then don't overcomplicate your modules and lessons with stuff that's not directly related to solving that problem. I tend to think of course material in types of two types of content. There's the core content, basically the meat of your course, and then there's like supplemental content that's related to the niche, but even if they don't necessarily tackle that supplemental content, the core content will get them the solution that they're looking for. Just be very disciplined in figuring out, like, is each lesson that you're planning to teach in your course targeted towards solving that specific problem that you're going to solve with your course. Now, you also want to consider when it comes to length is, who is your course meant to serve? Is your target audience busy working moms who might not really have a lot of time to finish a 20 to 30-hour long course? Can you figure out how to deliver some quick small wins in just a handful of lessons? So think about, who's actually going to be taking your course? What does their typical day look like as they're fitting watching your course into their lives? Now, I've been talking about the overall length of a course, where you can consider how many modules you're going to teach and how many lessons are going to be in each module. But what about the length of the individual video lessons? So there's actually a sweet spot for the optimal video length, and that's anywhere between 6 to 12 minutes per video. I'll actually link to a study below that did research on finding this optimal sweet spot. Now, 6 to 12 minutes is ideal for keeping the viewer's attention and engagement. And this is now a guideline, it's not an absolute rule. Because a lot of times, if your video lessons are teaching, let's say, more of a beginner foundational topic, you might actually need to have a video a little longer, since oftentimes foundational concepts can take longer to teach and be longer to absorb than more advanced topics. So, you can have some videos that can be a little longer, but in general, try to keep within that sweet spot of 6 to 12 minutes for your video length. The next question that tends to pop up is, can you launch a course with a small or non-existent audience? Now, this is a big one. A huge mistake new course creators make is not building their audience ahead of time before trying to sell their course. Now, you can spend so much time, energy, and money actually creating your course, writing the lessons plan, recording the videos, editing the videos, all of that stuff. And you can spend so much time doing that. But then if you don't have an engaged audience to sell the course to, then often that effort feels like a waste and you end up with little or no sales. So notice that I said that you need an engaged audience to sell to, not a large audience. There are plenty of creators who have had profitable course launches when they have only a few hundred people in their audience, not necessarily having thousands of people in their audience. Remember that 100 diehard fans who are in your target audience will lead to more profits than having 1,000 casual followers. Now, when I talk about growing an engaged audience, what I specifically recommend is actually building your email list. So you're going to build an email list of people who are already interested in your course topic. And the way you can do that is by offering a freebie that those people can download in exchange for sharing their email address and thereby joining your list. For example, in our business, we have a freebie workbook called Fast Track Outlining Your Online Course. So this is a workbook that people can get by sharing their email address with us. And then once they're on our email list, we actually continue to nurture them by sending them more additional valuable content, some other helpful resources, etc. So really building that trust over time, saying that, we really are there to help you. And so by the time I actually start talking about a course I want to sell to them, I've built up that trust. And if I've done it right, I've built up the excitement and desire for them to buy that course. And that's much easier because they're a warmer audience than just trying to pitch a course to a completely cold audience of people who might not know me and know what our company and what our mission is about. So building that email list is really, really important. I recommend that for any business owner to have build an email list. Now, growing a social media following is also part of having that audience. And I'll acknowledge that it can be very overwhelming to do that because there are so many social media platforms out there. You've got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, just to name a few of the big players. And what I would say is in the beginning, and especially if you're working by yourself, to instead of trying to be on all those platforms, focus on the one platform that you believe your target market is most active on. So let's say for you, that's Instagram. You think most of your audience is most present on Instagram, then you would focus on being engaged on the Instagram platform. And being engaged includes things like sharing helpful posts, having conversations, starting conversations and engaging with other accounts, and then also promoting your freebie on that social media platform too. At the end of the day, as long as you keep driving traffic to that freebie, that's what helps support your goal of growing that email list over time. Now, one advantage of the email list over just growing on social media is with an email list, you actually have direct access to your subscribers. You can email them anytime and your email will land in their inbox. As opposed to social media, sometimes you're a bit of at the mercy of social media algorithms that might limit the reach and awareness level of your post. So keep that in mind, like really try to build on the email list as early as possible so you can grow that audience. And then that way, when you launch your course, it's going to be much easier to actually have an audience ready and waiting to buy. And the next question is, where do you sell your course? So there's really two areas I'm going to talk about of where you could sell your course. Number one is a course marketplace, and the second place is through your own website. Now, the course marketplace is when your course is part of a larger catalog of other courses of a variety of different topics. So on a marketplace, you're more limited in how you're able to customize how your course looks and how your course landing page looks. And the marketplace will typically take a percentage of your course sales. Now, the advantage of being on a course marketplace is that there's already an existing audience of people going to that marketplace and searching for courses that they want to purchase. And that's really an advantage if you're just starting out and you don't really have an online presence. You might want to start looking at a course marketplace first for where to sell your course. I recommend looking at marketplaces like Udemy and Skillshare as a good place to start. You can test out their features and see what the interface is like and see what other courses are actually being sold on those marketplaces as well. Now, the second option I mentioned is selling through your own website. If you're going to go this route, then I highly recommend you invest in an online course platform. So these platforms these platforms charge a monthly or annual subscription fee. And what they do is they're hosting all of your course content online. So they're hosting your videos, your PDFs, any quizzes or other supplemental material you're including in your course. They're hosting it on their own course platform. And compared to the marketplace, these course platforms give you so much more customization and control. You could make all your pages look however you want. You can format your course the way you want. So much control over what you can do. And unlike marketplaces, you typically get to keep most, if not all, of your course sales. You're just really responsible for paying that monthly or annual subscription fee to use the platform. Now, some really popular platforms that you can look into are Kajabi, Thinkific, and Teachable. There's many, many others, but those are just some to get your research started. But I actually want to talk a bit more about the platform that we use. It's an all-in-one platform called New Zenler. So New Zenler is an all-in-one course platform because not only does it host your course content, but it actually can host all your sales pages. You can build your entire website actually on their platform. If you don't want to have a separate website, you could just have it all hosted on New Zenler. Your ability to host your blog there, send emails through New Zenler. And if you've been considering having affiliates sell your course, then they actually have an affiliate section as well. So that basically means that, let's say you sell your course for $100, you might have an affiliate also have a special affiliate link to sell, your course to their audience, and you would pay a small commission to that person for helping sell your product. So maybe you do like a 20% commission every time an affiliate sells your course to their audience. You can actually manage that within New Zenler. So New Zenler has a bunch of other really cool features that you can actually check out yourself. They actually offer a free plan, a free tier, so you could test out their features. And I'm going to include a link to New Zenler in the description. And with that link, you can sign up for a free account and test drive it yourself and see how the interface feels to you. But really figuring out what course platform you're going to use is one of those key decisions you need to make early on as you move forward with your course creator journey. And the other reason I also really enjoy New Zenler is for what it gives you. It's actually one of the most affordable platforms in its category. Kajabi is also another very popular all-in-one course platform. It's also very powerful, but it is much higher in price. But you can compare those two. And I'll actually be working on a video comparing the two platforms in a future video. So keep a lookout for that. Now, next common question is, how should you price your course? Pricing is always a big question looming in everyone's minds. So the thing is, pricing your course often comes down to how well you're positioning the value that you're delivering in the course to your market. So there's no exact set formula on how to price your course, particularly also because it will vary by industry and what your market will bear in terms of price points. But what I want to instead give you is like some factors to consider when you're figuring out how low or how high you're going to charge for your course. So when you think of the base price for a course, meaning what's the lowest you would actually ever charge, I want you to consider this. Number one, how much time and resources did it take you to actually create the course? So if you were, let's say, hiring help to help you design the course or record videos or edit videos, there's a cost involved to that. Did you maybe spend $1,000 on videographers to help you create that course? How are you then going to earn that money back through the course sales? Another cost to keep in mind is how much is it going to cost you to market your course? If you are planning, let's say, on using paid advertising to drive traffic to your course, that's going to cost you something. If you spend, let's say, $250 on ads and your course is only priced at, let's say, $20, you're basically going to have to spend the first few sales just trying to break even. So kind of keep that in mind too, like what are these costs involved making the course in the first place? And also, did you over time spend any money getting any special training to get the knowledge and skills that you're going to be sharing in your course? So much of your experience and expertise, you didn't just learn that in a few months, you learned that over years and years of time typically. And there was a cost to that as well. So keep those things in mind when you're figuring out what that base price is for the course. Now, on the other side, what is the price ceiling? How high could you potentially go? So here's some other questions to ask yourself. So number one is, how much would you charge to teach your course content to a one-on-one client? A lot of times, course creators are basically taking processes and frameworks that they've developed when working with one-on-one clients and turning that into a course that can be then taught to a group of people, to the masses, right? So if a service that you were doing for a client, let's say, was $2,000, and you're going to take that same approach and try to put it in a course, well, at least you know that in your mind there's a $2,000 value that you can help associate with the value of your course. Does it mean you have to change? It doesn't mean you have to charge the exact same amount as you did for the one-on-one client. It's typically a little lower, but just keeping that value in mind will help you price anchor where you're going to price your course. Another thing to consider is your course going to be solving a major pain point, saving them a lot of time and money? Perhaps an initial investment of a course that's worth $2,000. If a student follows your course all the way through, they'll actually be saving themselves, let's say, tens of $1,000s over time if they had tried to do it on their own via trial and error. So, the $2,000 might sound like sticker shock to you, but are you actually helping your student, with $2,000, save them from something that could be worth tens of $1,000s down the line if they didn't take your course? So you've got that price ceiling and that price floor. So your course price is then somewhere in between those parameters. And while I did say that there is no such thing as a set price formula, I do know that it's often helpful to hear some suggested pricing tiers. So I'll give you some 3 pricing tiers to think about based on how you plan to position your course. So tier number 1, if you're thinking of doing an introductory level or mini course, or let's say it's just a small handful of lessons tailored towards a very focused outcome, you might do an introductory mini course anywhere between, let's say, $10 to $300, anywhere in that range. If you're going to do more of a signature course route, maybe you're teaching, a process or framework, like I mentioned, that you typically are using with clients, you could do that anywhere between $500 to $3,000 and above. And then the third tier I want to talk about is something called hybrid courses that include coaching. So hybrid is because you're mixing the pre-recorded course elements from a traditional course, plus you're pairing it with some kind of coaching support. Usually it's a group coaching support, and you might be offering that over a period of time. So for example, you might be offering your course plus 3 months of group coaching to help support that student implement that course. It could be 6 months of coaching, maybe it's even a year of support. Of course, that's up to you to decide. Now, in these hybrid scenarios, those could go anywhere between like $2,000 up to $10,000 or even more. So again, you're taking a look at what is the value that you're going to be delivering to your students. And hybrid courses tend to be much higher value than when it's a traditional signature course where everything is just pre-recorded. So again, introductory, signature, and hybrid level. So those are some pricing tiers to keep in mind. Again, these are not hard and fast rules, and they can vary by industry, but it's just to give you some sort of feel, some sort of loose structure that you can base your decisions on. Now, when you create your first course, you're likely not going to have a ton of testimonials yet. And so if you feel a little bit nervous about pricing your course too high, then just start on the lower end. There's nothing wrong with that. You can offer a founding member price to your first students and share with them that, hey, this is going to be shared at a discount compared to what you're going to offer the course in the future. So it's a great way to get first students in and start getting that initial feedback and success stories. And as you get more people signing up and as you get more success stories, then you can gradually raise the price. Another option too, if pricing seems so high, is you could choose to offer a payment plan. So if you chose to price your course at, let's say, $1,000, you could make it more reachable to folks by doing a 3-payment plan of, 3 payments of $333, something like that. So those are just some different pricing models and pricing tiers that you can think about. And then last but not least, how long does it take to launch your course? So the honest truth is that it's going to take you longer to launch when it's your first time. And especially it will take you longer if you're working, by yourself and you don't have an audience yet. So I honestly recommend, if you're in the beginning stage, you should be giving yourself at least 30 days of audience building, of growing that email list, as I mentioned earlier. And if you've actually never even done email marketing before and you don't even have an email marketing platform, you actually should give yourself more time to, for that learning curve, to get accustomed to what that tool does and how it's set up. I'll link to some other videos too on how to get started with email marketing as well, because as I mentioned, I really recommend that any online business owner has an email list to help promote their services and products. So you've got to give yourself the time to build up an audience so you have ready people waiting to buy your course when you're finally ready to sell it. Now, as far as a realistic minimum target to aim for to launch, I recommend 90 days. So that's 90 days to create and launch your course to an audience. Now, of course, it's possible to launch less than 90 days, and plenty of people have done it, but it becomes overwhelming when you start trying to do it in less than 90 days, because there is a lot of moving parts and there's tech to figure out too. And I also don't want you to forget to factor in any time constraints or workload that you already have. Maybe you're a course creator who already has a full-time job and you're trying to squeeze in launching your own course on the side. If you're someone in that situation, that's obviously going to affect how much time you're going to need to properly launch your course. So keep that in mind. And if you need more than 90 days, that's obviously perfectly okay. You just need to choose a time frame that is realistic for you and your situation. I actually host a workshop called Create Your 90-Day Launch Plan in 90 Minutes, where I go through everything someone would need to know in order to launch within that time frame. I'll link to that in the description if that is something that you're interested in checking out. And again, just be realistic, give yourself grace as you put together a course that, once you do it, it can be a dream getting a course out there, right? I just want to, recap that, these are some of the big common questions that people have. If you have other ones that you'd like me to answer, again, you can drop them in the comments below. If you have other ideas for videos that you'd want me to create on this topic, I absolutely would love to make those and hear from you. And please like and subscribe to our channel, especially if you found this helpful. And the thing with creating an online course is it's such a fantastic way to broaden the income and impact for your business. It is profitable in the sense that when you market the right course to the right audience with the right strategy, you could be one of those creators that you hear about making thousands of dollars during a launch. It takes hard work, but that is absolutely possible for each one of us. And the idea too that it's about working smarter, not harder, because with an online course, you create the assets once. And once you make it, then you just have to repeatedly market that same product. But you don't have to create it again. It's just there that you can market over and over and make more time to do other things in the meantime, right? And then the last thing I'll say is like my favorite part about creating an online course is that gives you the ability to reach people that you wouldn't have the ability to if you were just teaching things in person. People from different time zones, different countries from all over the world can buy into your course. I've had students from New Zealand and Britain as an example. Take my stuff, learn from me, and that was just like crazy amazing feeling knowing that I could reach people from across the world from where I am. And I want you to have that feeling too. I want you to be able to get your course out there because you absolutely have it in you. And that's it for this video. Again, like and subscribe to our channel and you get notified as we put more of this content out there. And I'll see you next time, Empire Builders.